So last week, Jeff, we talked about that third-party showing that Microsoft had for the Series X. And we talked about how it was lackluster because it was mostly games that were being developed for this generation that were being shown in this this event under the premise that they were all being like visually improved and to run better on the Series X, right? Enhanced for Series X or whatever they said. And they said there was going to be lots of gameplay. And we also talked about the fact that there was not lots of gameplay.
Minimal.
And if it was gameplay, they were changing the definition of gameplay.
Yeah.
And so, yes, there were a couple of games that stood out and we talked about them, but in general, it was a pretty shit showing. And it was their first major misstep in all of the like Xbox Series X stuff, news and stuff that they've been releasing. It was like the first real major misstep. And the internet did not let them fucking get away with that shit. They came down on them pretty hard. Especially the gameplay part. People weren't really necessarily so upset about the fact that it was a bunch of third-party titles and they were for current generation stuff.
Yeah,
whatever. That's fine.
Showcase, so it is what it is.
People expected that, but the gameplay part, people weren't so happy about that one. They let them know, and so Microsoft actually did respond, and they admitted that hey, we set wrong expectations about the gameplay. Our bad. I don't think they'll make that mistake again.
I do.
I don't think they'll make it in the same... I think they'll still show games like that, but I don't think they'll label everything as gameplay so readily now. Because if they do it a second time, holy shit. And you gotta know PlayStation's trying to learn from it too.
Xbox is doing what Xbox does. They're gonna fuck it up in the fourth quarter. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I have no idea. It's not over for them. It's definitely a misstep. And people are now, the problem with this is now people are going to be looking for shit to bitch about, because I feel like everybody was excited. Even me, I'm like, fuck Xbox for a while. And then they started just doing the right things. They just kept their head down and they're just going, they're improving. Things are looking good. They're coming out with stuff. Everything's going great. And then the moment it's time to shine, they just do it again. And I actually believe that they're going to fuck this up again. They're going to do some dumb shit. Their presentations are going to be awful. And Sony's going to come in, the savior, because what's happening right now is Xbox's good reputation is starting to get tarnished. And people are now going to be looking for Sony to come out and just do anything right. I mean, Sony could come out and do a half-ass job. And at least it ain't Xbox. They're going to have gameplay footage. They're not going to, because Sony does this shit right. I mean, their whole thing that they did, whatever the hell that thing was before, but that was like a weird, I don't know what the...
Dana Carvey got up on stage and talked for a while.
Yeah, but I think even the fans kind of knew what that was to a degree. Like they weren't expecting much.
Well, Sony fans were.
But this was different. Like people thought like, oh shit, here we go. Finally, we're in quarantine. We're looking for just something exciting in our lives. PlayStation hasn't shown anything. Xbox is taking initiative. They've been doing all these right things. Game Pass is crushing it. We're hearing all these great things. But bro, this is it. This is Xbox comeback. And you know what they do? They drop the ball and they drop it bad. This isn't even like a small drop. There was nothing exciting or memorable of that presentation. It was just disappointment. It was like taking a fucking girl home at the end of the night and you're going, you know what? I'm at least going to get my dick sucked. and you go in there and she's passed out. You got nothing. You got nothing but a hangover and you got $200 less in your wallet.
Wow, that's an expensive date.
And then she wakes up in the morning and she realizes, what the fuck? Why am I even in the house with this guy? And then she leaves. That's what that was. They had to at least come in and at least cup some balls and stroke a taint and do something. And they didn't even need to do much. They needed to at least have a wow moment, like one wow moment. They didn't need to have Keanu Reeves come out on stage or some shit. They just needed to have one wow moment. They had zero wow. Zero.
They didn't need Keanu Reeves. They needed Owen Wilson to come out and say,
wow. That's what they needed. They needed something. They needed anything, but instead they dropped the ball. There was no gameplay footage, bro. That shit was in-game fucking.
There were like two games that stood out that I mentioned actually that were actual just with no UI on it, but you could tell it's legitimately gameplay.
Like the calm game or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Like that shit. And dude, it didn't even look impressive. It just looked like more of the same shit we've already seen.
Because it's for this generation, right? That's what it is.
But you know, a lot of people as well thought that we were going to be seeing a glimpse of the new Xbox and what things are going to look like. It was just disappointing all the way through. They created hype and they didn't follow through. So, they're going to do it again, bro. I'm going to guarantee you on the big stage, when it comes time to do something, they're going to do something stupid and people are going to go, okay, Sony, what do you got? Sony's going to come in and they're just going to do okay. Or they're going to have that wow moment and Sony's going to win again. And Sony isn't even saying anything. Bro, that's the beautiful thing, is Xbox actually had a chance to just put Sony in the corner and have them going, fuck, okay, we need a game plan. We need to strike back. Dude, Sony has said and done fuck all. We don't know anything really about the PlayStation 5, and they're already winning. How crazy is that? They haven't even done anything yet.
So I really don't know why they even bothered to go through with that showcase. Because from a marketing perspective, if you're sitting back and you're looking at how Xbox is running, and this is how I think this happened. So we know from last week as well, we talked about the fact that Microsoft has announced that they're going to release once a month some sort of major news about the Xbox. And I think that internal game plan, that outline that they're trying to hit, the target of once a month, whatever, I think that superseded common sense, where they could have sat back and said, look, guys, Sony hasn't said anything. People are question marks everywhere about Sony. What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? And we've got all checkmark positive everything around the board right now. All we need to do is guide it home. We just need to guide this bad boy home. This is an easy. It's T-ball now.
T-ball.
We got Sammy Sosa hitting a beach ball sized ball off of a fucking tee, using a Cadillac from 1978. You can't miss. Literally impossible. Except instead, they stuck a blind paraplegic trying to swing a Ford Pinto at a gnat, and they missed miserably. Shit was horrible. All they needed to do was cut this out entirely. Wait for the first-party titles. That's going to always pop off. Nail your first-party showcase. Nobody gives a fuck. I'm interested in a couple of games there, but nobody gives a fuck about third-party titles being developed for current generation consoles that are getting enhanced on the next gen. Nobody, like, it's cool that it's happening, and yes, you should let people know that that is happening, but you don't do a showcase where the first real, again, quotation marks, gameplay being shown for your console en masse is third-party titles for this generation. That should have never happened. With the buzz around the console right now, and even if it wasn't as positive as it was, it still shouldn't have happened, because the takeaways from that third-party development showcase was a game that's been on Steam developed by one dude for fucking $5 ever, and now it's going to cost $60 on the Xbox. A fucking penis that dripped legitimately. A game that looks like a neat puzzle adventure game that should probably cost $39 to $49. And a horror game that's relatively niche that looks good, but is not going to be selling consoles. Everything else in that showcase was completely completely forgettable. Completely.
Well, you know why?
unnecessary with Yakuza, like whatever the feel like a dragon, whatever dragon thing the Yakuza thing was, will get people excited. But it's coming from, again, this generation.
Yeah.
None of that needed to happen. And you know what fucking happened like 4 or 5 days after that shit? Or 7 days almost to the day. Sony does a fucking brilliant move. They didn't have to show off anything internal, first party, third party in terms of games. But what they did do is they went to Unreal and said, hey guys, your Unreal Engine 5, it's coming. We've been working alongside of you because you know these consoles are coming. How about you do your Unreal Engine 5 reveal exclusively running on our next-gen console in real time, and that will be the first exposure to show that shit. How about we do that? Because it's now, if they had done that without Microsoft showing this shit third-party thing, I don't think people would have clued into a very important piece here, is that, and we're going to watch this here in a second if you haven't seen it already, because the shit looks fucking wild. Even if it is a demo, apparently the guys came out and said, this is, with the controller, playable. This is a thing. We're just showing it with no UI. This is it's not a game in development, but this is all running, and what to expect is possible in real time on the PS5.
All right. Say no more. You've sold me. Let's watch it.
So, Sony drops this. And I'll say with the very, I have to put the starting soon screen up here for a second. The very important piece of information that doesn't matter because it's overshadowed by how good this looks and the fact that they had the PlayStation stamp on it. So I'm going to pop this up here. Get this going here momentarily. We're going to get the trailers up. Okay. And you let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready.
All right. 3, 2, 1, go.
Epic Games.
Bro, the
Hello,
leap from
Director of
4 to
Graphics
5
here at
is
Epic
huge.
Games.
Oh, wait a minute.
Hi, I'm Jerome Plateau, art director of the special project.
I thought this was
Years ago, we
just
got
what they
together as
showed
a
off.
team and
Anyway, we'll watch
brainstormed where
this.
we thought
Fuck
we
it.
could push forward the state-of-the-art in real-time graphics. There were 2 key areas that stood out. The first, dynamic global illumination. Beautiful bounce lighting instantaneously.
I don't have to be constrained to do a game where the world has to be static, and I'm able to iterate a lot faster.
And we call this new system Lumen. We're about to show you what it is capable of. But first, there was another area that we thought we could push forward. Truly virtualized geometry. The artist wouldn't have to be concerned over poly counts, draw calls, or memory. We could directly use film quality assets and bring them straight into the engine.
And that's a big deal for artists. I just want to be able to import
It's
my
a big
ZBrush
deal for
model,
artists.
my photogrammetry scan,
Very
my
French.
CAD data, without wasting any time optimizing, creating LODs, or even lowering the quality to make it hit frame rate.
In the end, that's what it's all about. Art that just works. And we call this new technology Nanite. Here is the future
We call this
of
new
Unreal Engine
technology
running live on
having a really
PlayStation 5.
fast solid state drive.
Let's take a look at it.
This has to be the right way.
Ooh.
Yeah. So it's running its own. This is not using like RTX or like ray tracing in that sense. It is using apparently its own.
Before we continue, let's stop
version.
a moment and take a look at some of the key features of this demo. Much of what you see was built with Quixel Megascan assets, but instead of using the game versions, we used the cinematic versions, which would typically only be used in film. There are around 1 million triangles each, and thanks to virtual texturing, they all use 8K textures as well. Nanite can render an insane number of triangles very quickly. There are over 1 billion triangles of source geometry in each frame that Nanite crunches down losslessly to around 20 million drawn triangles.
This is what we needed.
What does that
Yeah,
mean?
and that's why I said
This
with the
isn't
Xbox
noise.
thing, I said that's not
These are
what
the
you should
triangles,
expect.
Each a different color. Most
This
are
is
so
what you
small
should
that
expect.
They look like noise. Nanite achieves detail down to the pixel, which means triangles are often the size of pixels. This amount of geometric detail requires shadows to be pixel accurate as well, and Nanite can do that too. Speaking of lighting, all of the lighting in this demo is completely dynamic. with the power of Lumen that even includes multi-bounce global illumination.
Yeah, so that's
No
a version
light lamps,
of...
no baking here.
Yeah,
Without
it's a version
GI,
of ray tracing.
all of that beautiful lighting is gone. With Lumen enabled, we can move the light and the bounce changes instantly.
God damn.
Yeah.
Okay, let's keep going.
See, this is what I meant before as well. We talked in the podcast where consoles push games because they have to build for consoles. PC is too variable of a system.
Convolution reverb
and then
allows us to
this
measure
makes PC gaming better down the road.
characteristics of real spaces, like
But look how
actual
good this
caves
looks.
that we sampled, and reproduce them in virtual spaces. Sound field rendering allows us to record and play back spatialized audio. All of this adds up to a more immersive experience.
By the way, this is just what the next Tomb Raider game is going to look like, in case you're wondering. They just didn't want to actually put Lara Croft in because they would have had to pay somebody.
This swarm of bats was created with our Niagara effects system. Particles in Niagara can now talk to one another and understand their environment like never before.
I know I like my particles to talk to one another, Jeff.
Hell yeah, I do.
We've also added a ton of new functionality to run fluid simulations like you see in the water below.
You know what I want? I want Horizon Zero Dawn 3 running in this shit.
This
what I
looks
want.
insane.
Now, keep your expectations in check because, what he talked about mega scans, you can't do that for fucking everything in a video game, really.
Demo runs on our chaos
Artists
physics
still need to
system.
be able to do shit.
Here we are using it to accurately simulate
So,
the rigid bodies.
unless
of
your
the
artists
falling
have all the
rocks
time in the
and
world,
cloth at the start.
just sit down and do some of this shit. You know, it's not like this is... Let's put it this way. It's not hard to mega scan a bunch of fucking rocks and put them in. Now, if you're gonna do a really intricate building that's done
Now
by
that the
artists,
environment is so
that's a different...
complex, we've needed to greatly improve our
a different
animation
thing.
systems to adapt. We've added predictive foot placement and motion warping, which dynamically modifies IK and body position to look more natural. For the character to more realistically interact with the environment, we've added the ability to trigger seamless contextual animation events, like her hand on the door.
Looks promising.
Dynamic GI is amazing, not just for speeding up iteration, but also for its impact on gameplay.
Nice.
Any light
Looks-
source can move while
it
still
might
having
be.
beautiful bounce lighting. Dynamic illumination means specular as well, which you can see on all the metal surfaces. You can even see the Niagara-powered bugs reacting to the light. Lumen not only reacts to moving light sources, but also changes in geometry. Remember we mentioned high poly assets? This statue was imported directly from ZBrush and is more than 33 million triangles.
An
No
artist
baking of
just
normal
spent
maps,
half their
no
life
authored LODs.
to put this together.
Worth.
There you go.
And we can do more than a single statue. There are nearly 500 of that exact statue at the same detail level placed in this room.
There you go.
For a total of over 16 billion triangles from statues alone.
Jeff, that's half the entire world's available triangles
Over this
in one
entire
room.
demo, there are hundreds of billions of triangles. So with Nanite, you have limitless geometry, and with Lumen, you have fully dynamic lighting and global illumination, all running on a PlayStation 5.
That's your money shot.
But Jeff, did you know that you can see dripping penises exclusively on the Xbox Series X?
Couldn't give a fuck. This I give a fuck about.
Now, Jeff, what if you saw a dripping penis in this level of fidelity?
I'd care a little more about that dripping penis.
There's not much time left.
Like, it looks like you're
This
playing
doesn't
a
need to be
fucking
constructed.
CG
Cutscene.
cutscene all
Yep.
the time.
It can
Yep.
stretch
Pretty
all
insane.
the way to the horizon.
There's your draw distance.
Holy fuck.
Portal, it's open.
The portal is open.
This is gonna make me want to buy a new
Don't stand
TV.
now.
Yup. Well,
Well, not you. You're good.
not me. Yeah.
You might, yeah. Well, maybe, well, yeah.
Ooh, that's cool. Wow. This is crazy. Wow.
I like that it's still stylized and they didn't go for full, like, fucking realism. You know what I mean?
You still feel like you're playing a video
Yeah.
game
To
Yeah.
see what's next.
because when it gets too real, it starts to.
Uncanny Valley is a hell of a drug,
Yeah.
bro.
It doesn't. It's not as effective.
No. But you know what was effective?
That presentation.
That presentation.
Right there, dude. That's insane. That's insane. Bro, I don't even care about this type of shit, but that right there makes you care. That shit's crazy.
So, now don't get it twisted. There wasn't somebody holding the controller. They just put up X to fucking interact and shit.
Of course, but I mean, god damn, dude.
However, you should never expect that a game is likely to look that good all the time because that is still a tech demo. It is running in real time, but it's still a tech demo. That is showing like that is Unreal sitting down with PS5 dev hardware and making the best possible audio visual experience.
They're selling you on this shit, you know? This is
However,
like this is a Big Mac commercial, and they got
Yes.
that beautiful looking Big Mac.
yes.
Now, when you get it, it's not going to look exactly like that, but hey, it's still a Big Mac, and you still should be impressed.
I mean, once in a while, they're still not all that impressive. I mean, let's be honest here. So,
They're still not, you know, it's just really depends on who's taking the care with the Big Mac in behind the scenes. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
There's people that spend a lot of time on crafting that perfect looking Big Mac. And then there's people that just slap shit together,
that's right.
like an Xbox presentation, and you that's what you get. But that was cool. I like that.
So, yeah, that's your absolute best case scenario. You're not going to see that. If you do,
For
it won't
now.
be until the end of the fucking console's life cycle, probably. But it does show just how crazy stuff can get with the new consoles coming. So here's a couple of important things. One, it's still not gameplay, and they still like to misconstrue the definition of gameplay, much like Microsoft did, but in a different way, and that's whatever. The more important piece of the pie here, information-wise, is that what nobody's talking about is that most people are pumping this up for PlayStation 5 because it's running on PlayStation 5, right? And that's fantastic news. The smartest thing that Sony ever did was this so far because, again, they didn't have to show off any of their games. They showed off the absolute, like, fucking near the maximum that console is going to be pumping out. But they did it with a third-party engine developer.
Yep.
That engine is going to run as well or better on the Series X.
Yep.
But Microsoft didn't hop on or pay the money to have that demo run on their console. And so now the discussion is how good the PlayStation 5 shit is looking because people aren't going to go, oh, well, games aren't going to look like, all that, whatever. They don't give a shit about that. They saw PlayStation 5. That's running on PlayStation 5. We saw an Xbox presentation. It looked like a bag of smashed assholes lit on fire in the middle of a fucking street.
Yep.
That's
Dude,
what
there's
goes
gonna
away
be-
with people.
It was so poorly done, Microsoft, that there's people that legitimately think the stuff they saw was next gen.
Yes. Exactly.
And then they see this with PS5 and it truly looks next gen.
Yes.
And they go, "Whoa, look at the difference."
Yeah.
That's bad. That's not good for Microsoft. That's not good.
No, it's terrible, actually. It's awful.
It's a bad time. So Yeah. Interesting. That was cool. That was a cool little watch.
So there you go. So that's Unreal Engine 5. What's going to be very interesting will be to see what it will take to see that kind of stuff on a PC, because a lot of what's going on there, as graphically impressive as these next gen consoles are, it's the speed of the memory working with their storage that is allowing that many triangles to appear on screen at the same time and load without issue and all that shit. You don't really get that on PCs right now. Will you be able to? Yes. Is it going to cost you a shitload of money? You bet your tight little ass it is. And so for a short while, and I'm not fucking with you here, for maybe a year to 2 years, the PS5 and Xbox Series X, with first-party titles that are really pushing these systems, are going to look and run better than pretty much, not all, but almost every PC that any one of us owns, down to me with a 2080 Ti. It's just it's not gonna stand up. It'll still look good, but the consoles, for the first time in a couple of generations, are gonna have the jump on high-end PC gaming, which is fucking wild. It's great news because it's going to push PC gaming stuff forward. But PC Master Race for a couple of years will be Console Master Race for a short time, and that will be fun to see how it pushes hardware on the PC front. Because inevitably PCs will pass by, but it will only happen because developers have been given these consoles to max out, and then it passes on to PCs. There you go.